Hi, I'm Mick Crossland. I'm the head coach here at the Combat Academy. With me today is one of my fighters, Tommy Crossland. Tommy's the British, European and World Amateur K1 champion, now campaigning as a professional fighter. We're going to run through a few drills today, looking at 5 different ways to beat a strong low kick attack. So we're looking at the right low kick, attacking the outside of the leg if you're facing an orthodox fighter. And we're going to look at different variations of how we teach our fighters to deal with the low kick. The first one we're going to do is a more straightforward and simple one. It's the outside, we call it a check, there's different names for it. It's the outside check. So when Tommy kicks, I'm facing him here. As his body turns and his hips turn, mine will turn in correspondence to that, and I'm going to catch his kick with my shin like this. Okay, so it's very, very simple. He turns, I turn, and I catch his shin with my shin. It's really important that I keep my posture straight so my balance is good. It's really important that my hands are up nice and tight, just in case I've got that wrong. And also, the lift of my leg corresponds to the lift of his leg, because if I just automatically go into a high position, he's kicking really low, he can come under my block and kick my standing leg, which is not good. So I need to learn the timing of his body rotating, his hips rotating, and watching for the lift of the leg and making sure mine corresponds to the lift of his leg as well. So when I'm doing this drill, I'm trying to teach my body how to time my opponent's movements. So it's always important, the term in fighting is make them miss, make them pay. When you've made someone miss with a defensive move, you need to come back with a counter, okay? So we're going to put a simple counter on this as well. And the key to making this counter work is about after the defense, where I position my feet. If I position my feet correctly, I've aligned myself to score the shots that I want to throw. So what we're going to do, I'm going to defend and I'm going to return fire with 2 punches and a kick. And after the kick, I'm going to exit off to my left as well. And the way that I'm going to get this done, obviously the legs are longer than the hands, so I need to cover the distance between me and my opponent. So when I've done the check, what I'll do, I'll push off this foot, drive my hips forward, and I'll come slightly out. So I've done check, and I'm coming slightly out, and I'm aiming to land the hook as I land the foot on the floor as well, okay? So I've gone from here, and I've repositioned myself after the kick into an optimal position to throw the hook, okay? So we're going to go hook, cross, left kick, exit left. So we'll keep going back and forth a couple of times and show you this from different angles. So moving around like we're sparring, we go check, 2 punches, exit to our left, okay? Show you from the other side. This time it goes kick, we go check, 2 punches, kick, exit off to the other side. So we'll do a couple of back and forth examples and show you how we run this in a normal class. So that's the first way of dealing with the low kick, is to do an outside check and return fire with some boxing and a nice kick to punctuate your work. The second thing we're going to do what we call evading the kick. So when you check the kick, you're blocking it, you're getting in its way. When you evade it, it's the opposite, you're getting out of the way, okay? So we're going to do what we call a lead leg evasion. So when the kick comes, again, I time my kick, my defensive move with the rotation of his body. So I'm trying to watch his body moving, and as it does, I'm going to retract my hips, pull my lead leg back, and I'm going to do what we call a body curve, where I push my hips back and drop my chest forward. So when the kick comes, I do this. What's really important, a couple of common mistakes with this is, I don't want to bring my feet together. There's still a chance that his kick could travel further than I expected, so I still need to have a solid base in case it hits me. And the other thing I don't want to do, I don't want to step into an alternate stance. That's a different kind of movement, and it's not going to enable me to capitalise on the missed shot as effectively. So when the kick comes, I step back, and I'm aiming to be just in front of my leg, or if need be, I can be aligned, but that's it at the most. And what's really important is that I have like a hip distance gap between my feet. So when he kicks, I body curve and step back, and then I've evaded it. And again, we're going to return fire with a counter attack. So what I'm aiming to do is I've done the defensive move, and then just like I did is when I defended, I position myself for the return fire. So I might have started here, but I'm going to push myself here, and we're going to lead this time with the backhand, and I'm going to sign up with the lead hook and a right high kick. So when the kick comes, I go evade, step, twist, twist, kick. Okay, I'll show you one more time. Evade, step, twist, twist, kick. So we'll do a few drills of this back and forth and show you how we do it in class. And that's the second way of dealing with a low kick, is to do the lead leg evade. The intercept, all that means is your opponent initiates an attack, but then your counter attack is aimed to beat their attack. So that's what we're aiming to do. We're aiming to intercept the attack from them. So when Tommy does the low kick this time, before I'd retreated, when I did the check, my weight comes back. When I did the evasion, my weight comes back. This time what I'm going to do, I'm going to meet and beat his attack. And there's a couple of key things that need to make this work. First thing is when the kick comes, I'm going to step off my centre line and point my leg diagonally away from the centre line. So when he turns in, I turn out, and the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to travel forwards as well, like this. So I want to kill the kick, okay? So the key to that is I want to get to the kick before it would have hit me, and I want my knee well under the kick, so the kick, if it does land, is landing higher on the thigh and with much less impact. The second thing that I do to kill the kick is the intercepting cross, which is what I'm throwing. So when he kicks, I step through and I'm trying to beat his attack. Obviously his attack's coming round. By going straight, I give myself the optimum chance of scoring my shot before he does his, and the sting of the cross landing should unbalance him enough to take the power out of the kick. The thing about this is it's a higher risk manoeuvre, but it's much higher payoff if it lands effectively, and it's all about timing, watching his body, watching his hips turn and watching him come towards me. Okay, so I'll show you this, a couple of slow ones, and then we'll do it as a drill. So the kick comes, I step out and turn, and I punch through. And you notice when we're doing this for drilling purposes, Tommy's doing a double cover so that I'm not landing directly on the chin. But if he did a normal kick where he swung the arm or created the gap in the guard, I would aim to come through the guard and balance it. So this time I'm going to do the intercepting cross to the low kick attack. So Tommy will do one, then I'll do one. We'll switch position and show you a few angles. So that's the intercepting cross as a way of responding to the low kick attack. Another way that we like to use to deal with the low kick attack is sometimes you can take it. And again, we talk about high risk and high payoff. If you're going to take the kick repetitively, that's probably too high a risk unless the payoff is guaranteed. So we only recommend this on a couple of occasions. If your opponent's not throwing loads and loads of low kicks, or the low kick's not too damaging and your conditioning's good, it's a risk worth taking. If your leg's already taking a beating, we recommend going more defensive with something like the check. But this one, high risk, high payoff, if you've got a lot of confidence in your hands and your precision, this one's worth doing. This one's called bracing the leg, okay? So a little bit like the intercept, we're going to step out off the centre line slightly and try and get under the kick, and we're going to put his weight into his front foot, and we're going to load that to come back with a power hook, ideally before his leg goes back from the kick. So bracing is taking the kick, but it's calculated. What I'm doing is I'm putting my weight forward, I'm dipping it down as well, and I'm taking it, putting the leg in a strong position to where it can absorb the kick much better. So when the kick comes, he turns, I turn, and I step here, and I basically took the kick, but then I'm going to come back with the hook. So I'll show you how this works. So he goes kick, I go brace, hook, okay? Now if he's got long legs or he's a long range kicker, I can sometimes leap in on this as well. So if he's far away and I brace here and he's going back, I can chase him down by pushing off this and exploding into the hook as well. Again, it's high risk because you're taking the full force of the kick, but it's high payoff because you can generate maximum power on the hook, and it's much harder for him to defend. So we'll do a couple of drills of this. So he goes kick, and I go brace, hook. And then I go kick, he goes brace, hook. I'll show you from the different position. So you can generate loads of power, and if your conditioning's good and the steps right, you can kind of kill the kick enough to align your opponent up for a damaging response. That's one way of dealing with it when you brace, and the final way that we're going to show you today is bracing on the kick again, but this time we're going to come back with a kick. That time what we were doing, we were deliberately timing their low kick attack and moving in to kill the kick. What happens oftentimes is, especially if you're focusing on your boxing, you're going to catch low kicks a little bit unexpectedly. And what we try and teach our guys to do is when you do get kicked, come straight back, okay? So we're going to brace, but this time we're not going to have the time to travel as much, okay? So I'm going to dip the weight down for his longer range, okay? So I'm just dipping, because I didn't have time to check, I didn't respond fast enough to evade, so I took the kick, but I had just enough time to dip the leg, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spring out of that with a kick of my own. So when he comes with the kick, I take it here, and then I'm going to kick to the inside of his standing leg. The inside low kicks are not always as damaging as the outside low kicks, okay? So they're not going to score as high, but what they've done, they've destabilised his opponent by kicking his standing leg. That'll hold him still for a split second, and that's where we capitalise with a more damaging attack. So from this one, what we're going to do, we're going to go left jab, right cross, left high kick. So I've braced on the kick, kick the inside of his thigh to hold him still, and then I'm going jab, cross, and then a high shin up top with our lead leg. The key to making this effective is much like many of the counters, it's all about foot position. This time it's about the foot position after the kick. So when he kicks my leg and I step in, I'm going to do a little middle step here, not like a normal where I would step right in. I'm just going to step up and push here into his inner thigh. But then after I do that kick, I'm going to step out slightly to align my boxing. And what I want to do is, as my foot touches down, I want to be landing the jab at the same time. Okay, so I've got brace on the kick here, then I've got kick of my own, jab, cross. And what I've done, I've come from here and gone out. Okay, if I go here and go down, I make myself vulnerable to crosses, low kicks, and other sorts of nasty stuff that I don't want to be in the way of. So just that little step off the centre line as I realign my shots is going to put me in a safer position. So I'll show you how this works. We'll go through it a little bit slow, and then I'll go through more of a faster pace. So he's going to go kick, I go brace, kick, step, 1, 2, high kick on top. Okay, so I'll show you a couple of drills of this. And then Tom will do the same. Show you from the different angle. Show you one more time. And then Tommy's. And that's the 5 different ways that we're showing you today about how to beat the low kick.